I've been very happy to see that there has been quite an interest in the last few videos I've done about how we, as light workers and coaches and healers and teachers and whatever we call ourselves, it's that same category. How there's been quite a bit of recognition, and then I had Leah on, and we talked about her book, The Canopy of the Soul, which is very much about the same and the processes we are going through currently. And I certainly would invite you to go and watch that one. I know it's a little long, and I'm sure it's most of us want shorter. It's about an hour long, so take it in small bits and pieces, or get the book, The Canopy of the Soul. It's very inspiring, I think. But what I really enjoyed is that, I've been connecting with more people who are on that same frequency that we're talking about. And I just think it's so important that we come forward a little more, start feeling safe in being a little different, a little woo-woo, even though to us it's not woo-woo, it's just normal, natural. And it's always so nice to connect with others who are in that same frequency boat. So what I noticed too is that there is some kind of there is a doubting still. There's still a doubting for many people if we can trust that. What is that? What is that we wonder if we can trust? And that's what it kind of comes down to when we step into that new frequency, start entering into the new dimension, that it's very, very unfamiliar territory. And when I started finding myself in that territory many years ago, I also had to kind of like, the old ways don't work here. The things that I normally rely on, I can't rely on them anymore. So it felt like I was coming into this new vista, but I had nothing to go by. There was no roadmap. There was no book with detailed book with, now this happens and this happens. There was basically nothing. And the way I talked about it back then was, it's like there's a number of us who are finding ourselves now in this place where we don't really know what we used to know. I'm not saying we have forgotten it, but we don't know there's nothing to rely on. So it was nice, that I was floating there in this space of infinity, and what's going on here? And then suddenly I met somebody else who was also floundering around a little bit, trying to figure out how it all works here. And then more and more of us, of course, are finding ourselves there. And the way I talked about it back then is, it's like you really are entering into a new land or a new country without a roadmap, because there are no roadmaps there in the way we're used to. The only roadmap we have is this. That is the sixth sense, or the soul sense. There is a kind of a knowing, there's a sensing, there's an intuiting, but it's not solid. Not solid in the way we're used to. When you get used to this, it's very solid, but not in the beginning. In the beginning, it's like learning a new language. And I've written about that in my book, Imagine Being Kind to Yourself. It is like learning a new language that doesn't have words. It has something. And that's what we're learning to trust, or to get to know, to understand what it means. And I've always found that to use the metaphor of a yes and a no. What does yes feel like? What does a no feel like? And when you start trusting that, then it's clear that, oh no, I'm not going to go there. I can't feel it. It's not right. And then there's like, oh yeah, a lot of energy, or a sense of peace or groundedness or clarity, but not with anything specific around it. And we do need to learn that language of the soul. And then we need to learn to trust it. And that takes time. And I find it a lot easier today than when I started out, because in the beginning, it felt like it was just me, even though many of my spiritual friends, I couldn't quite relate to them, because I had let go of, the whole spiritual concept. It had just boiled down to this thing here. There's something here, and I want to know what that is. I need to find out more about it, because it is undeniable. And if you can relate to what I'm talking about right now, you will say that, yeah, there is something here. And it may just say something like, not in words, but it's like, something's not right here. But then everybody's doing it. So then, we can switch back into our mind and follow what other people do who are not in this frequency yet. So I really want to encourage all of us to reach out to each other, to get the support, to learn to trust this fully, fully. And a lot of time you will be the odd man out or the odd woman out, because most people don't live like that. So we need each other. And I've said this for so many years, how important it is that we support each other. We need each other. We need to hear it from others so we can get that, oh yes, like yes, that's what I felt. I wasn't sure if I could trust it. And then there's more trust when we hear it from others. So that's what I want to just say today, that reach out if you need help. If you are not fully sure you can trust it, it's simply because you haven't fully embodied it yet. And you may not have had enough confirmation on the outside that, like, yeah, that's it. And then you might go, but what is it? It's nothing really. Say, yeah, that's it. And then you get used to um, sensing more of what it actually is. And, it's hard to describe. I don't really have words for it, other than there's just a knowing. Yeah, there's just a knowing that this is it. And it's okay to make mistakes. It doesn't matter. That's normal. We all do that. And then we suddenly realize that we went with something else again, because we have been so conditioned, right, to ignore this and follow the outer instead, with the outer authorities, the science, the patriarchy, government, teachers, even spiritual teachers. And it's great to follow them for a while, but at a certain point, we do need to let it all go. And then there's just one thing left, and that is your own divinity. And it has its own unique flavor in each of us. A lot of similarities, but also very unique, right? It's like the sun, all these rays, it's all the sun, but they're all different. Or each drop in the ocean, it's all water, but each drop may have a little bit of a different shape, a little different resonance, um, more or less light in it, depending on where it is. So that is how it is with us too. And if I can support anybody in learning to trust that, that is really my greatest joy. It really is. It's like, yeah, there you are. And then there's this recognition, and it feels so good to be recognized. I still go sometimes and need recognition when a deeper layer opens up. It's so helpful to just be seen or be witnessed in it and know that it is safe and that it is okay, even if nobody else is experiencing it. So we do need each other, and it's wonderful that we do need each other because we are all one. And there's nobody who is different or separate from this oneness. So if we can start coming together more and resonate in that together and confirm each other in that, it's so beautiful, so beautiful. So thank you so much for being here today, and thank you so much for shining your light in whatever way is natural for you. Have a beautiful day.